Welcome to Chime In. I'm Celeste Day. Tonight we have a really exciting conversation to have with you. We are going to be talking about gun ownership and so much more. We have a guest tonight with us. His name is LeVar Gordon. Most of you know him as Spida, so we will be referring to him as that. Spida is from Georgia, and he is a firearms instructor. He will be sharing a ton of information, so right now I want you to make sure you go out on your phones, share the live Facebook feed. People don't want to miss this conversation. I'll go ahead and ask my hosts to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Andrea. Welcome to Chime In.
Hi, I'm Julia Caesar. Welcome to Chime In.
Okay, so while you guys are sharing, I want to go through some information that we discussed last night, and I think that one of the things that I learned during this process is just how complicated guns are, information, there's a ton of information out there, but let me start with some of the basics, and I think that there will be...
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Ignore me.
I told you we're going to have fun tonight, right? So I think there will be a lot of kind of notions dispelled. I want to ask you guys to please feel free to send us questions. I will share your comments and ask your questions. If you want the question to be directed to Spida, please let me know, and we'll do that.
So much pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. So... Everyone knows the Second Amendment provides the U.S. citizens the right to bear arms. The amendment was originally created to give citizens the opportunity to fight back against oppressive government. Though state and local governments regulate whether residents may, for example, carry guns in public, federal laws regulate who may receive and possess guns. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, a division of the Department of Justice, administers the Gun Control Act. ATF also regulates the standards for issuing licenses to gun vendors. Shotguns, rifles, machine guns, firearm mufflers, and silencers are regulated by the National Firearms Act of 1934. The purchase of semi-automatic weapons is legal in most states, as are automatic weapons made before 1986. I'm sorry. People are already sending us messages and questions.
You're popular. That's all that means.
I think they heard Spida's name is going to be on Chime In.
My phone is dry. Your phone is lit.
Okay. So all 50 states and D.C. allow the concealed carry of firearms. 34 states require permits and have constitutional carry laws, but will also issue permits upon request. In 2017, which is the most recent year for which complete data is available, approximately 40,000 people died from gun-related injuries in the United States, according to the CDC. So there is so many governing bodies around these gun laws. I'm not really sure how we can all keep track. And so I'd really love to just kind of start with some of the basics. And again, we want to get to a place where we're sharing with people what's really, what's real information, right? And what we can trust. So I'm just going to ask Spida if you can just start off by just talking about the legal age of firearms.
Okay. There's a lot of debate behind this, especially in different places across the country. But here in Georgia, okay, I'll just start with being able to shoot a weapon or go to a gun range. For an outdoor range, a child has to be 10. And for an indoor range, they have to be 12.
Wow.
But to own a weapon, that's a whole different legality in terms of, technically, you have to be 18 to own a weapon. Some cases they're trying to move it to 21, just like the alcohol. But technically you're supposed to be 18. But there are cases where you can be gifted a weapon prior to that. So there's a couple loopholes behind it. I mean, there's a lot of loopholes in the firearms world.
So you could give a 14-year-old a
As a
weapon
gift?
as a gift?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sign it over and put it in their name. So I buy it. I'm an adult. The background check goes through me. I get checked. There's a one-sheet form. You put your name on it, put the serial number on it, and now it's yours.
Wow.
And you can go to a range as a 14-year-old outdoors.
And indoor.
And indoors.
And indoor. You cannot go by yourself,
Okay.
but you can go. You cannot go by yourself. That's the main thing.
Okay.
A lot of people think 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds can go to the range and start just sending shots down range, but no, that you cannot go by yourself. You have to have an adult with you.
Okay.
Because legal purposes, that gun range will get shut down instantly. ATF will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, but like I said, there's a lot of fun things in the gun industry, in the gun world, but I have fun because being an instructor is always fun. And believe it or not, a lot of the people that I actually instruct are women and guess what? Women are naturally better shooters than men.
Well,
That makes sense.
I totally oppose that.
Well, the main thing, the main reason is because women know how to relax better than we do. Men
totally
walk into a
oppose
gun
that.
room and
Because
a
I have the
competitive-
ribbon to prove that I was an expert shooter.
okay,
Thank
so
you
you got
very much.
your ribbon that says expert shooter.
Yeah.
Mine says above expert. Now what?
Right, well. You prove my case where men are better shooters than women. Do you have anything like that?
I don't have a
Do
ribbon.
you have anything like that?
I don't.
But
I rest my case.
even if I did, I would tell you that I didn't.
oh, she doesn't want you to know what she can do.
Oh.
You walk around with that X on your chest like, yes, I did this, I did that. She comes around and goes, all right.
Yeah.
Silent assassin.
But yes.
All right, so do those rules specifically apply to Georgia? Can we talk about Georgia? So is there specific rules around owning a handgun in Georgia?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that. Because each state they vary on different things. It's like in Chicago, you can't do anything. In New York, I mean, New York gun laws are so backwards. It's kind of scary. Like if I was to travel to New York with my weapon right now, in a locked case and my ammo in another case, they actually treat that as if it's loaded and I'm going to jail.
Wow.
New York is crazy. So each state varies on their laws and how they interpret things.
But that, what you just described, seems like a version of how to, I mean, the intent is to limit the amount of people
course.
carrying guns,
Of
right? So
course.
we know the objective. And so if they attempt to make it more restrictive, regardless of whether or not it makes logical sense, if the objective is to reduce the amount of civilians that carry guns, is that...
Let me ask you a question. So you're going to limit a bunch of civilians from carrying guns, all those guns that are obtained illegally. What are you going to do to stop them? That's a serious question.
That can
That
lot
was
of-
a rhetorical, though, right?
Yes, of course.
But a lot of the states where the gun law is very restrictive, that's where they have the most guns.
Highest gun
But
violence.
if you think about Chicago, Chicago has the highest gun.
And they have the strictest laws in the
and
country.
they have the strictest laws. So because they don't have access, then they have the illegal guns that crawl into the market, and then a lot more people will have illegal guns. Then they'll have it legally.
You have a situation like Chicago where it's extremely hard to get weapons, but you drive 45 minutes outside of the city, buy whatever you want.
Well, with that being said, I'll ask this. Do you think that gun control laws affect criminals more or law-abiding citizens more?
Well, you just answered your own question. Simply because law-abiding citizens obey the law. Criminals do not obey the law. So who does it hurt more?
Well, I think the gun controls that they put in place is to keep the guns out of the hands of criminals. Meaning, okay, you have to get a background check before we will legally sell you a gun.
But here's the thing, and this is I'm a gun nut. Understand this. I am a gun nut. I own a lot of weapons. Okay, we're clear on that. Good. I believe there should be more gun control because it is entirely too easy to get weapons.
Yeah.
Entirely too easy. You know what it takes to get a weapon here in Georgia?
Show up.
Your driver's license.
Yeah.
That's it. your driver's license, and they run you through a system. You may get a hold that will take 2 weeks, but in some cases it's 16 minutes, and
So-
then you can purchase.
So when they run you through the system, what are they looking for?
Red flags. If you've been arrested, if you have any domestic violence cases, if
I
you
would
have any
think mental
alcohol.
health.
No.
No? Wow.
But I thought that was so. So Glenn Fraser says, "Hey Glenn, gun restriction laws affect citizens, not criminals."
Correct.
Similar to what you just said, and criminals don't abide by the law. And we had a very intense conversation last night about this.
Good, yeah.
So it
Just to even jump countries, not even in this country. Are there any gun manufacturers or gun shops in Jamaica?
I know there's manufacturers in Brazil.
No.
Right, but every weapon that is on the island of Jamaica is imported.
Yeah.
All of them,
And there's a lot.
they still end up in the hands of criminals. So who do gun laws protect?
So we have a New York resident, Cosby Smiley, that says carry permits. New York is restrictive, not backwards. Do you want to talk a little bit about why you think that they're
Okay, it's
laws are?
it's restrictive. If you're a New York citizen, it makes sense. If you're not a New York citizen, so say I live in Connecticut and I have my weapons permit and I drive through New York and I get pulled over with my weapon in my car, I'm getting locked up.
Yeah, that
with
part
with
does
or
not
without
make
a
sense.
permit?
Right.
With
I'm
a
getting-
permit?
I'm getting locked up.
With a
With a
permit?
permit.
With a
because
permit.
you cannot have your weapon loaded.
Oh, well that
But
makes
they
sense.
No.
They consider a gun with your gun is here, your mag is here. It's still considered loaded in New York.
Because your gun should be in the car and your mag
Your
in
mag
the
at
trunk.
home.
It does.
No, it can be in the trunk.
Listen to what he just said.
Okay.
Leave your mag
So-
at home. Walk with your gun, but leave your mag
Can
and
you have
bullets
your
at
gun
home.
in your glove compartment and your
No.
ammunition in your trunk
I'm
and
telling
you're
you,
safe?
from
No, that's
my,
a question.
From my personal experience, when I traveled, I got stopped and I almost got in serious trouble. I had my ammo packed away in a box, and I had my mags in another box, and I had my firearm in another box. They treated it as it was loaded. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can actually have everything in parts.
It does not make sense.
The when it comes to New York citizens, when you get your weapons carry permit, it makes sense for New York citizens. Everybody outside of that, it's like you're an alien.
So
Okay.
if you,
So we're keeping this going. I'm loving this. So gun control is the issue. Responsible gun ownership is not, right? Because that's what
Correct.
we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Correct.
So very appropriate. Thank you for saying that. Brent says there are no universal check for guns regardless of what they tell you.
That is true.
That's the issue. If it is way too easy to get a gun, which I think I just heard you guys
Yeah.
say. That's the problem, right?
And I
It's
will say
not
this-
a problem for law-abiding
it
citizens.
says, yeah.
Me being a law-abiding citizens think it's a problem when criminals could just go in
my
and
problem,
buy one.
My problem.
And when I say criminals, I mean people with
Ill intentions.
my
felonies
problem-
and the mentally ill and people who've, had certain things in their background. To me, they shouldn't be able to own a gun.
So, this is my favorite crazy loophole when it comes to gun ownership is the purchase private sale loophole.
Yeah.
So, you can't buy a gun. They said you can't buy a gun, but we're friends.
Yeah.
I can buy guns. I can buy as many as I want. You know what? I'm gonna go buy one. All right.
Just meet me in
A
Walmart
week
parking lot.
later, I can sign a piece of paper, give it to you, and give you the gun, and now it's yours. I have nothing to do with it. You do a crime with that weapon, they go check it. I show them that piece. This is no longer mine. I'm
And
off the
there's
hook.
nothing that prevents you from
There
being
is
able to do that.
zero presenting a private sale.
And is that Georgia, every state, what is...
I don't know what other I know it works in Florida. I know it works here. I know it works in North Carolina. I know it works in Texas. I know it works in Alabama. And I know it works in Mississippi. I don't know where else it works outside of that. But down here, as we call it, the good old boy belt,
Yep.
it works.
Wow. Wow, you guys, this is some good information, Spider. Okay.
So the
Okay.
laws that's in place, even if they were to make it where felons can't buy a gun, it's easy for them to get their hands on one.
They could-
Especially
yeah.
if they got friends.
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of a system like if you want to buy my gun off of me, all right, we got to go get this checked. We got to go to a FLL dealership, a dealer, go get a quick check, and then you can take possession of it. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Situation where, if just like swapping drinks, I can trade guns with you. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that, because if you're a criminal and you're going to use it for something other than protecting yourself, then that's dangerous.
Right. So I mean,
And guns
I
are
see it time and time
changing hands
again
every day.
So I'll give you an example. My brother and I, we buy guns all the time, and he'll get sick of it. I'm like, all right, I'll buy it from you. We stay in the same house. He just brings it over and drops it on me. I sign a piece of paper. It's not mine. I don't got to talk to anybody. But that's my brother. That's
Yeah.
but it's still that dynamic that we can just switch weapons like that.
Right.
Granted, there's a lot of weapons in our home. Granted, if you ever come to my house to try to rob me, I'm going to be happy.
Don't go to his house.
I will get out of
Regardless
bed
if you have
with
any
glee.
So this is also interesting, because another thing that we talked about, and I learned this when I moved here 2 years ago, that there are some cities who they require you to have a gun in Georgia.
Yes.
So, I was shocked and didn't believe it the first time I heard that. So I literally had to go and, I'm like Reagan, trust but verify, right? Trust but verify, I believe that. So I went and I learned that you, like Kennesaw, you are required to own a gun. Tell me, so clearly, yeah, never mind. I'm looking at Julius, so hold your comment, Julius. I'm asking Spider, so tell me about that. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Okay. I love the idea for two reasons. B&Es plummeted after that was instated. Like, I'm sorry, breaking and entering. I apologize, I said B&Es.
I was going to ask you.
Those plummeted because you're now breaking into a neighborhood where everybody's armed. You don't walk into area and punch a beehive because you're gonna get stung. You walk into a neighborhood where everybody's armed. That's a suicide mission. So you don't do those things. So those types of things actually bring crime rates down because everybody, your neighbor's armed, you're armed, your person down the street is armed. If they hear gunshots, everybody's gonna wake up. It just automatically happens and everybody comes out. Matter of fact, I'll give you an example of situation in Texas. The guy that walked into a church and killed one person, and then the person behind him shot him in the head. Oddly enough, he was actually a trainer as well. But did you watch how many guns came out after that?
Lots.
Everyone.
7 weapons came out after that. Your congregation is fully armed. You don't walk
walk
into a hornet's nest like that. That's a suicide mission. If you'd have known that ahead of time, you wouldn't have done it.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that whole neighborhood, that whole town is armed. You don't go up there causing trouble because you're gonna catch a bullet.
Yeah, I totally agree with that scenario that Spider explained there, because one of the things when I first moved into my house that I used to have in Kennesaw, the first thing that happened was as I was moving in, the neighbor said, hey, how you doing, neighbor? Introduced himself, and he said, hey, do you own a firearm? I said, why? He says, because in Kennesaw, you're required to have a firearm if you live in Kennesaw. I said, yeah, I do. He said, okay, great. And on we went.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate. So what if you live in Kennesaw and you're a felon?
That's a good question.
That is a very good caveat. Legally, you cannot own a weapon. You can't even be around them because you're a felon.
But I live in Kennesaw.
You're right.
And it's required that I have a weapon.
So I would actually have to call a sergeant friend of mine to ask him what the loophole is behind that. I can actually call him and see what he says.
Or you could do what all other felons do: buy a gun from a friend.
That's true too.
But you're not allowed to be around them.
But here's the difference with that. There's also something called castle laws. Do you know what castle laws are?
We don't. Castle laws, no.
This is Georgia. There's things called castle laws. You can have a firearm in your home and in your car and not require any license at all.
Didn't they extend that to your place of business also?
Some areas accept that, not all. Not all places accept castle laws. But castle laws, you can defend your home and your person to the death of you. The only way you cannot use deadly force is if your assailant is running away.
Right.
It's
Like
reasonable.
the cop that shot the guy in the back at the Wendy's.
I'm about to be very controversial with this one. Y'all are probably gonna get mad. Y'all are probably gonna yell at me. But understand this. If he would have kept running and got shot in the back, absolutely. The fact that he turned and fired the taser at the officer was then justified to shoot him. I'm going to say that. Y'all can be mad and cuss me out.
I agree with you.
But that's
as long
that's
as
the
he's
problem.
facing the officer. But when he discharged that taser, the taser was already discharged.
No, he still pointed it in the direction.
He pointed it, he discharged it, it's already discharged, and he's running away now. What he was going to do?
No. But the thing about it, you have to understand how use of force works. If you're running away, you are no longer engaging. You turn any piece of you to point any object in that direction.
Yes.
You are re-engaging while retreating.
But he got shot after he fired and turned around. His hand wasn't behind him when he got shot.
You're right.
That may have
His
happened.
hand was in front of him at that point in
The fact
time.
that he still did this that's the dangerous point.
I
If you're running away, run away.
I have
Okay,
a
but the
feeling
gun-
he would have
but-
been shot
but the
whether
gun ownership-
he had done that or not.
On
But
that note, I agree with you, but the legality of it.
But and I think this is we're debating, but let's pull back onto our because we have a lot of questions for Spider,
Gotcha.
and people out there are asking questions.
No,
And
no,
so Brent just said, even though there's laws on the books, it's unenforceable laws. So the reality is too, even thinking about the question that you asked, it's a really good question. But what goes into enforcing the residents of Kennesaw to own a gun? Right, or to not in the situation where I want to own a home in Kennesaw. I have had a felony. I am on the straight and narrow. I don't want to own.
Go get your record expunged.
I don't want to own a gun. I don't want to own a gun.
Don't
but
live in
I have my
Kennesaw.
But I already have my house in Kennesaw.
Don't live in
Well,
Kennesaw.
The jury's still
So
out on that,
it's-
whether a felon
it's not-
could own, whether the Kennesaw law overrides that or not. The jury's
Right, there's
still out on
maybe
that.
some things.
But also-
but if it's not really enforced, is the question around.
But here's the crazy part. It may not be law enforced, but those HOAs definitely enforce it. Those HOAs
Wow.
are on your. Do you have your weapon?
provided you
Do
live
you
in
have
a
your,
place
if you
where.
live in one of those
Well, that's
subdivisions
like
that
that.
has
Provided
an
you
HOA,
live in a
Yes.
home that
and most
has an
and most of the
HOA.
areas in Kennesaw have HOAs.
And it
Yeah.
will be very
That's
funny.
also indicative of living in the South.
Yes,
That's
it'll
just
be
how it
very
goes.
funny if somebody comes, breaks into your house, robs you, and then the police show up, and they say, "Well,
I have a gun, but I didn't pull it out because I was afraid he was going to take it from me. and
where
shoot
is
me
it?
with
Let me see it. Where is it?" And you don't have one, and gives you a ticket for not having one. That would be poetic justice.
That would not. That would
That
be.
would be
Can you
poetic
imagine
justice.
how sad that is? You get robbed.
And you get a ticket for
You
that.
get a ticket for not
You
having
get robbed. You get
Yo,
pointed at
I would
gunpoint,
cry.
and then the police come and give you a ticket
For not having a gun.
for not having a gun to defend yourself.
you bastards, really?
That's a perfect storm.
that is it.
So-
Oh my
So
God.
before we get to the next question, because I know we have a lot of questions for you, let me just let you know a couple of other comments and questions that people have. So Steve says, everyone should be armed and ready to protect their home properly and their loved ones. Yep, makes sense.
Can I add to that?
Yes,
Get trained.
yes.
Buying
True.
weapons is one
True,
thing,
true,
but
true.
if you're
Getting
not
trained,
trained
yeah.
to use it, you are worthless. Doing
You know what?
Yes, that makes
Stick
sense.
a pin. We're going to pause for a minute.
Yep.
And we're going to take a quick commercial break here because I know, Spider, you have burgers and
Burgers and bullets.
Burgers and
and
bullets
bullets.
coming up. So tell us about that
Yeah,
before
that'd
we
be
get
great.
back to that. Now's a good time to tell us about that.
Okay. Burgers and Bullets is we have training classes every month, but we decided to do something different. Make it a bit more fun because a lot of people think firearms training is scary, so we're trying to make it a bit more fun. That's why we came up with the concept Burgers and Bullets. So we're gonna shoot, we're gonna run through weapon safety, weapon introduction, and then we're gonna move into some high-speed tactics for people to actually defend their homes in a manner in which a real life scenario, and then we're gonna go eat because who doesn't like food? So I mean, Burgers and Bullets is just it's a concept we came up with to make weapons training a bit more inviting and a bit more accessible because high-level training when it comes to us, you really can't find like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
When is it?
actually, this Sunday.
Sunday.
This Sunday coming up, the 22nd. Is that? Yeah.
How do they register?
It's actually, we have it up at burgersandbullets.eventbrite.com right now.
Okay.
So classes are $75, but you trust me,
But
we're gonna have some fun.
$75 includes a one-day hunting permit, right?
Yes, the one-day hunting permit, which allows you to come onto the property, which we're doing is 10 square miles of fun that we're gonna play with.
Wow.
Even though we're not gonna use that much land, but we'll still be able to move and shoot and then go eat.
So everyone has to bring their gun, or you
Yes,
gun will be provided?
bring your weapons. I did make the decision to order more safety equipment, so eyes and ears and stuff like that. If you have it, still bring it, and then bring your own ammo as well. So once you register, we will get a waiver from us. You sign that waiver, then you're coming out and spending the day with us, and we're gonna have some
I don't
fun.
have a weapon, but I want to register.
See, the caveat with this,
Spider would be happy to transfer one to you. You just have to sign this.
you see, you know, so you're bright enough. You're bright. The next thing you know, I ask them to transfer it back, and I can't get it. The reason on this go around we're not actually renting weapons out is because we're at an outdoor range. If it was an indoor, then it would be easier for us to do so. But on an outdoor range, we ask that you bring your own. The reason we're doing outdoor is because on indoors you can't move and shoot. So we want you to be able to understand and feel how it actually moves to shoot, and shoot, instead of just pointing at a piece of paper and going, "Yeah, I hit the paper. I hit the paper. I win. I hit the paper." No, I want you breathing heavy. I want you to get tired. I want you to understand what it feels like to have your adrenaline pumping when you actually have to defend your home.
Yes.
So, because these are trying times. People are getting crazier and crazier.
So, folks, go to Eventbrite, burgersandbullets.eventbrite.com, and sign up for a Spiders class if you're interested in some.
And Rochelle says Spider is an awesome trainer.
Oh, shout out to Rochelle. She's a great student. I love her. I love her. She learns fast. She's quick, and she's Ozzy. I'm worried, bro. She learns fast. She learns really, really fast. I was like, okay.
She has potentials.
Okay, so can we bring it back to, let's start. So one of the topics we're talking about is carrying and open carrying. What does carrying mean and all of that? So let's kind of focus on that.
Can I just show you what that means really
Yes,
quick? Okay,
please.
hold on. Be right back.
Okay. So we talked about what open carry means in the state of Georgia and possibly what it means in other places. And so...
Oh, my knife. Sorry.
That's okay. So Spider's going to demonstrate what that means.
Really quick.
Okay.
That camera, that what we're doing? Yes. So I'll have this on my hip. I'm kind of tall. You want to, what do you want me to do?
It just needs to see your hip. It don't need to see your face.
So, very simple. If I have this on my hip and I'm walking around, that is open carry. The moment I do this,
It's concealed.
that is considered concealed. Okay. This is what you need a permit for. This is Georgia. You can do this all day long.
All day long.
Without anybody saying anything to you.
I'm sorry. So let me just make sure I understood. So you need a permit to hide it.
Yes.
And you don't need a permit to
Show it.
correct. Show it.
Absolutely correct. You see how crazy Georgia is?
Wow.
High five.
I'm a quick learner. I'm a quick study. So, and that's interesting because, and we also talked about this, I feel like there are some, even like law enforcement people who, one would think that's crazy if they lived in another state that didn't allow that. But is it possible that we restrict like law enforcement officers more than we do civilians?
In terms of what?
Well, I guess if you're a civilian, so can you, let me think about that. Let me think about that some more because
I know, I kind of have an idea where you're going.
Yeah.
Do we restrict law enforcement in the way they use force? Is that what you're asking?
well, not necessarily, but I guess I'm still shocked by this
What, that
Open
discovery
carry.
right there?
Yes. This is
So
right.
you're
So
saying
I'm
that
still.
law enforcement officers have to have their weapons shown, so it's open carry. They carry their weapons
Yeah,
as if
they
they're
do.
open carry.
But I guess they can conceal it as well.
They can.
They can't.
A lot of them
Yeah.
carry
Yeah.
what's known as cobalts, and then
Yeah.
they carry ankles.
Yeah.
Ankle hooks,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
That's true. That's true. I think it's an adjustment to Georgia, to a state that is different than
Welcome
the state
to the
that I'm in.
South.
South,
Right,
the
right,
good
right.
old boys, the good old South.
This is a good old boy state.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens? So Glenn Fraser asked, what happens if an officer questions you about your open carry weapon?
He cannot say a word to me.
You cannot say anything.
No. My
Because-
weapons are open. He can ask how you doing today? Are you doing good? How, my well-being, but he cannot ask me about my weapons.
Well, he can say, do you have a weapon on you?
It's
Even though
clear.
he
So
can see it.
I'm
Even though he
20
can
years
see it.
old.
It's
I'm 20
clear.
years old. I have a pistol, and it's loaded, and it's on my passenger seat.
You're you're in your car.
I'm in my car.
Castle. Remember? We talked about castle laws.
We did.
Home and car.
Yeah, but she's saying she's 20 years old.
I'm 20 years old.
So it's your father's gun or your uncle's gun that's sitting on the seat.
Okay. The officer can ask to remove it for his safety and your safety at the same time.
Okay.
He can definitely do that. And then it's your choice to comply or not. In that scenario, I would comply because you're young.
Okay.
So they don't want you. It's a safety situation.
Yeah.
So I would comply. Hand him the weapon with your non-dominant hand.
Okay.
If you're right-handed, hand it to him with your left. Because the moment
That's
you
good to
reach
know.
for it with your dominant hand, it can be
Something
conceived as a threat.
Okay.
So hand it to him with your non-dominant hand.
And please
So-
say, I'm reaching for the weapon
Yes,
now.
tell him
So-
exactly what you're doing.
It's in my glove compartment.
Leave it.
It's concealed.
Leave it. It's in your glove compartment. Don't touch it. Don't even go for it.
But if the officer say, "Do you have a weapon?" and
Yes,
I said I have a weapon,
it's in the
my-
glove compartment. I'm not touching it.
Wouldn't that be you're carrying a concealed weapon and you don't
No,
have
not in the car.
No, not in your car.
Not in your car.
When a weapon is in your car, and okay, the only time a weapon is concealed is when it's on your person, and you have it concealed on you. In your car, hidden is not concealed because the castle laws applies because you hide weapons in your home, right? Nobody can come into your house and be like, "Hey, do you have any weapons? Where are they hidden?" It's the
But
same thing applies.
I think there's a lot of people that they're don't have enough information because I think I heard some younger folks saying that if you have a gun and you have it in your car, you got to take the bullets out. If you take the bullets out, you're good if the police pull you over. And no.
That's why we want all of
No.
those young people to watch Chime In. Listen to this is what we're talking about. It's dispelling the notion, right? Because I think there's tons of misinformation out
There's
there.
way too much misinformation.
Yes, I think there's a lot of misinformation, especially with younger folks because
Yes.
they think they know everything and they think that they want to do what they want to do.
So Inez says, if it's not concealed, can the officer ask to see the permit?
No. This is an open carry state. I can carry my pistol on my hip, my shotgun on my shoulder, my rifle in my hands, my gun on my ankle, all showing, and they cannot tell me a thing.
But they can't ask you for the permit?
No,
because it's
this
showing.
is an open carry
If
state.
it's under his shirt or something and they see it bulging, it's very possible they may ask to
Now,
see
if he asks if I have any weapons
Yeah.
concealed,
Right.
then if I say yes, then he can
Then you
ask for
could
my
ask
permit.
for.
But I think a lot of young folks, they get railroaded with,
Because they don't know the
with
laws.
gun laws, and they end up getting in trouble because they don't know the law. Because a lot of times I've heard people get arrested because they had a gun in them, or they had a gun in the car with them.
But some would argue that if you don't know the laws, that's part of the problem,
That's
right? You
absolutely
shouldn't
the
have
problem.
a gun if you don't know.
All
You
right.
don't know the
I
rules.
got a question for the people that are watching. If you know it, what is the use of force law in Georgia? Just type the numbers if you know it. I don't even Google it because I know half of y'all Googling it right now. What are the numbers for the use of force law here?
I know that 21 is in there because that's my number.
Let's see if anybody knows it.
Okay.
Nope, they took too long. They're Googling.
Well,
They're Googling.
So, Andrea, what is it? I know
21?
you know it.
21?
16. It starts with 16.
Oh, it's 16, 16-3-21.
You're all fired.
I told you I knew my number.
She said 21. She was like, "Yeah, this is my number. I'm taking it."
My number.
I don't care about anything else. It's 16-3-21. That is the use of force law. here in Georgia. Memorize it. If you own a gun, if you plan on buying a gun, memorize it because that will save your life.
What is the use of force law?
Here, I'll show it to you. Because I keep it on me at all times. You can read that for your audience if you want.
Okay. So
actually, just read up to up to however, because after however, it's kind of legal jargon.
Okay, so remember it's 16-3-21, the Georgia gun laws. Use of force in defense of self or others, evidence of belief that force was necessary in murder or manslaughter prosecution. A person is justified in threatening or using force against another when and to the extent that he or she reasonably believes that such threat or force is necessary to defend himself or herself, or a third person against such others' imminent use of unlawful force.
Okay, so just
explain that in a layman term.
Just to explain it really quickly, if you put me in a threat, if you're threatening me in a manner which I feel like I have to defend myself with deadly force, you're allowed to. If you are threatening someone else that can cause bodily harm to them, you're allowed to. If you are running away from me and then going to attack somebody else, you're allowed to.
So I just shoot the person in the back.
If they're going to threaten somebody, if
if
they're in imminent danger to someone else.
Here's a perfect example. He's running from me, but running towards you, trying to shoot you.
I can shoot.
Do you want me to shoot him or not?
Yeah, you could kill him.
Right. So that's in defense of you. That's where the third person comes in. But there's also something called MAC, mutually agreed combat. If you tell me, all right, we start arguing and you say, come outside, we're going to fight. And you say, okay, you going outside to fight. The moment you pull out a weapon, you're going to jail for murder. You cannot do that. You agreed to combat.
Right. So just because you're getting beat up now doesn't
cannot pull out a weapon.
Doesn't mean you're going to pull out a weapon and shoot the guy because
But I
you're
feel
getting beat
threatened
up.
because, like,
No.
You agreed to combat.
You agreed. It's like stepping in a boxing ring. You can't go in a boxing ring to box and all of a sudden tell the trainer, give me my gun, and shoot the guy dead because he's beating up on you.
Right. Mutually agreed combat is where you cannot use deadly force because you getting your ass beat. Excuse my language. Excuse my language.
I say ass all the time.
So.
Okay. All right. Wow. So we had a couple of comments. So Sherwin said, I'm at war. I'm a war vet, and I found out when I went to get a permit. So he's finding out those rules, right? Mm-hmm. And Denise says,
who's that, DSA? Yeah, that's DSA.
Can you drive to another state with your gun?
Yes.
And you have a permit for Georgia?
Yes. Georgia's permit works in 36 states.
36 states, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I know.
Now, hold on. I will add another piece to that. When you go to those states, learn the gun laws. Your permit may work, but there are some things that, I'll give an example. For Florida, open carry does not work. You have to conceal carry. You cannot open carry when you want to. Especially in Miami, you have to conceal carry. You cannot walk with your weapon out. You will go to jail for that. You have to conceal carry, but your permit works there. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that. Learn, if you're going to another state with your weapons, learn the laws of that state because each state is different.
All right. Speaking about, the permit to have a concealed weapon, our ask is in reverse. Where in Georgia can you not go with your gun concealed?
Government buildings, and if I'm being honest, a business, if they have it posted, you can't do it. Airport, no, you can go into the airport. You cannot go past security. You can't go past security, but you can walk into an airport where the ticket desk, the baggage claim with your weapons, you can actually open carry in an airport. So, but it's up to the business's discretion, and that's how Georgia is actually set up, where a business can actually deny open carry or concealed carry laws. So it's up to the business's discretion, but a lot of federal buildings don't allow it. Courthouses don't allow it. I mean, they definitely don't. That's why you get checked. Even if you have a holster, they'll tell you to put it in your car.
And that's why I asked in reverse, because it's almost you could carry your concealed weapon anywhere now in Georgia, even churches, college campuses, and the list goes on and on and on.
That's crazy, though, that you could actually you're going to church and everyone sitting in church with a pistol or a rifle.
You just saw what happened in
The
Texas.
scenario he
Times
just gave
we're living.
earlier.
The guy just walked into a church and shot somebody, and everybody around him was like, "All right, try it again."
Yeah, that was
He
just
died on the
earlier.
spot. But it's a situation where if you know your audience is armed, you're less likely
Less
to
likely.
do something stupid.
Yeah.
So, like
For example, Kennesaw, I bet their crime rate is
down.
Is
B&Es are
because
down.
everyone know that
everybody
everyone's a
know
gun.
everybody in Kennesaw's armed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they take it serious because, like I said, when I lived there, it was taken serious, and most people, I would say probably 90+% had a firearm in the household.
So I think you answered the question around background checks. Doesn't seem like there's a background check required for you to purchase a gun in Georgia.
No,
Did I
no,
get
there
that right?
there is.
Okay, so
There,
can
there
you-
it's okay. There is a background check. There is, if you get stopped, there's a waiting period while they do a deeper check. There is that, because they do run you through and see if you've been put in the system anywhere.
Okay.
If you've had DUIs, if you've had domestic abuse, if you're a felon, anything like that, you get red flagged. And then there's a stop on it, and they check some more. And then you can get denied. So there's actually a pretty good background system when it comes to that stuff. It's just the private sales stuff that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, if I decide tomorrow, you're a felon, I don't care. If I decide tomorrow I don't want any more wild weapons, Julius, here.
You can sign everything to him.
But
That's the gap.
But in this case,
Yeah.
a lot of
That's the
felons are going into stores with a friend who is not a felon, actually looking at, testing out, getting a feel for the weapon he wants, and once he figures out what he wants, he has the non-felon buy it.
Yep.
And like he says, a week later, it's signed over to me, and now I own it.
But if you have a felony and you did your time, did everything that you're supposed to do,
Get your record expunged.
get your ex. So what if you cannot get your what
Then
if you
can
cannot
never,
get it?
Then you can never own a firearm.
But that's not fair though.
I mean,
So
hey,
what if-
He doesn't make
if
the law.
no. If you're a violent offender, you're
Yeah.
never getting a weapon. Like if you're like an
Yeah.
extreme violent
Murder.
offender,
Yeah.
murder, stuff
Yeah.
like that, you're never getting a weapon.
Legally.
Legally.
Good point.
I
High
just-
five, high five, high five, high five. You're learning. You're learning. It's never
I'm
impossible
a quick
to,
study, I tell you.
in Georgia, in America, it's never impossible to get weapons. That's the problem. But I will tell you something scary right now. The place where law enforcement gets their bullets is out of bullets.
Yes.
That's-
Because
that's
everyone
across-
is
that's
Where
everywhere.
Law enforcement
Everywhere.
Gets their bullets.
It's out of bullets.
It's out of bullets.
That's everywhere.
Because-
Everybody's buying bullets, like at a massive rate. Like I went out to Georgia Arms where I get my stuff because they have great sales on stuff because they make their own bullets. And I walk in and goes, I want one of my 500 cans. Oh, we don't have those anymore. When are you gonna get them back?
Why do you think that everyone is like buying a gun right now and
Trump.
buying some buying-
TRUMP, Trump.
Because I went to a gun store and the line was like so long. And most of the people that were there, they're like young people. They're like in the 20s.
You're gonna get a lot of that right now. This is what we call panic buying, which is the worst kind of buying because you're buying stuff and you don't know what you're buying. You're buying it because it looks cool. You're buying it because you think you know what you're doing, and a lot of times you end up hurting yourself because there's a lot of situations where people have shot themselves, and it's just mishandling, it's a bunch of foolishness right now. Like panic buying is the worst type of buying when it comes to weapons. And like I said, if you're going to buy a weapon, I am all for you practicing your Second Amendment right. But do me a favor, please get some type of training.
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
Because it blows my mind that there aren't certain requirements. Like if you go drive a car, you got to take a driving test. You got to pass that before you can actually buy this. But to buy a gun, money, gimme, pay.
But it's surprising that to buy alcohol, you got to be 21. To buy cigarettes, you got to be 21. But to buy a gun,
18.
18, you could walk in the store and buy a gun.
Yep. But and it's sad, but some things have to change. But will it is the question.
No.
So well, we're going to ask you that, so I want you to be able to answer that. But let me talk about, so Sherwin says they also red flag you if you have PTSD over 50%.
That's if you come out and you're designated that via the military. He knows that because he's a vet.
Right.
So
Right.
if you're designated that, then if you have dishonorable discharge, if you have PTSD and it's written on your discharge papers, then you can't.
Right.
You get flagged.
Okay. And then Denise says, how are illegal aliens being approved for a permit?
Who said they're being approved?
Yo no sé. So I
Well,
that was just a question.
I'm lying. Illegal aliens?
I don't see that.
I
Says,
don't
how
see
are
how
illegal
that'll
aliens
happen,
being
no.
approved for a permit?
I don't see
I don't
that
see that
happening
happening.
because you have to have a valid license
Right.
to do so.
And now to
But
get
do
a
you
valid
need to have a
license.
valid license? Yeah, this one I'm not sure what that means. So Brent said you can open carry in a government building if they do have metal detectors. We talked about that. Law changed a few years ago, much to my chagrin.
Oh yeah, that's Brent.
That's
That's,
right,
that's,
yeah.
that's my boy.
Yeah,
So.
and that was,
have
that
this
was him
debate.
saying what you
Me,
said.
me and him have this debate all the time.
So-
He
so-
believes there's no need for guns at all. Love you, Brent. Love you, bro. But still.
Well, I mean, that's also part of the conversation too, right? Because there are countries that believe that you should not have a gun, and they don't allow it, and they have the lowest crime rate.
That is true.
Across the world.
But the problem, the problem is no knock to the founding fathers, but they ingrained it in American blood.
They
Yeah.
set the trend
So
for
they
the
set
culture.
the
It's
actual.
part of the culture now.
If you are going to take away guns in this country is going to hell fast.
Yeah.
Like you are going to have more of these boys come out of the woodworks, and you're going to have an extreme war on your hands. A sheriff in Arkansas said, if this law passes where they say they're confiscating guns, I'm going to sit back and watch them try. I'm not enforcing anything like that. Because if I do, my deputies and myself will die.
But on the other hand, a lot of people use gun for recreational, like hunting and stuff like that. They don't have the gun to commit a crime or anything. It's like a sports for them.
That's true.
So a lot of people out there, that's their main thing is
I'll give you another piece. A lot of people fret on people that have a lot of guns. And my response to that is very simple. They only have two hands. Like you can have a gun. I can't carry all 15 of my guns at the same time. I can only carry what's in my hands.
Right.
Because a lot of gun owners that actually do buy multiple guns are collectors. They like
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
I like certain brands. So I buy certain things that I like. So it's not like I'm buying a bunch to go to war. I just like how they shoot.
Right.
Right. So if I could just take us back for a second around making sure we understand all the, the gun laws, even just understanding guns. So.
I can search the web for that.
Oops.
Oh,
You really?
but I have Spider
That's-
here.
That's how you feel?
Siri wants to know. And so I know that you were going to be able to share with us,
Oh,
because you have some.
I forgot those are down.
Yes,
We-
but I didn't.
So
So I'd love for you to, because what we talked about is that training, getting information is power.
I'll just do this, and you can ask your
Spider is going to
audience.
demonstrate the difference between what is considered.
No. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Okay, that's perfect.
Let's see if you guys know. What's the difference between these two weapons? And what's like I don't think I want to ask you guys. I want to ask them.
Okay.
What do you guys think the difference between these two weapons is? Well, what the differences are. See if anybody gets it. And Sherwin, you're not allowed to answer because I know you know. Because the fact that these are considered different kind of shocks a lot of people,
Right.
and it freaks a lot of people out.
Right. One is a rifle. One is a pistol.
Good job, Steve.
Who said that?
Oh, which one is a pistol? How do you know that?
Good
Then
job.
you say one is
Yes.
one fire more bullets.
Denise says one fires more bullets. Assault rifle.
Okay, so this is considered a rifle. This is considered a pistol. The determination, this has to be operated with two hands. This can be operated with one. That's why it's considered a pistol.
So
Very simple.
So a pistol, does that mean, so can you walk with that?
Yep, I do.
And so that, and you can open carry that?
Yep, I do. I can open carry
You
with
can
either
have
one of these.
either
So
one.
you can open carry, walk with this one.
Yep.
Around
Yep.
to work.
Yep.
And okay.
So because you could fire one with one hand and the other hand with both hands, that's make one a rifle and a pistol.
That's just one piece. That's just the easiest way to explain it.
Okay.
Because there's a couple things that go into it. The stocks, the length, stuff like a bunch of stuff happens. I'll just put this one
So
down.
some people say that's a whole conversation, rifle versus pistol.
Correct.
Game versus assault. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, neither one of these are assault rifles. I want that to be absolutely clear. These are not assault rifles.
Okay.
AR does not stand for assault rifle. It stands for Armalite. Armalite is the name of a company.
Okay. Okay. So do they need a different permit? So do you need a
No.
permit for that one?
No, it's the same permit.
Same permit, but one you can open carry and one has to be.
Both of those you can open carry.
Open carry it over.
Okay.
Oh.
The only weapons like a permit, you can, okay, because then again, weapons above that grade as a civilian with a permit you can't even get.
Okay.
So you cannot buy a fully automatic weapon.
Right.
You cannot buy those things anymore. Anything prior to, what is it? I think 78 or 86, one of those years. Those are the only automatic weapons you can get or legally have. But you cannot buy an automatic weapon. That's above this grade. You cannot do that.
Okay.
However, if you are a criminal, you can convert it to automatic weapon.
That's the binary triggers and bump stocks and all that other stuff.
Yes, if you
that is true.
decide you don't want to obey the law and you want to change it up and make it automatic, you can.
Or you do what they have these ghost guns now where they just print them. 3D printers, which are untraceable. We call them ghost guns.
So what does it mean? So you just reminded me of some of the information that I had spoke about earlier, where it says the purchase of semi-automatic weapons is legal in most states, as are automatic weapons made before 1986.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a weapon that's made before 86,
You're legal.
and is that okay? And so was there something that changed in the weapon?
No. There was just a ruling that assault rifles were outlawed. Mm-hmm. So anything prior to 86 is still legal. Anything after that is illegal. So
if you have
how does one determine?
Oh, the serial number.
Yeah.
I guess I answered my own
And you
question.
can tell
Yes, you
older
can.
weapons. You can
Oh,
really
you
tell.
can tell.
You can tell.
Okay.
Gas rings are different. Well, I'm going into jargon now. Sorry. Things are just different.
It's like a classic car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the weapon of choice when it comes to that stuff are SKSs and AKs. So
So as a woman in Georgia,
get a gun.
What would you recommend?
Any recommendations?
What- any
380s. 380s are easy to handle.
380. Okay.
That's exactly
9 mils
what
of
you
380s because they're easier to handle. Anything bigger than that, I mean, with training you can handle it a lot easier. Fatter bullets, 45s, 40s, stuff like that, they're cool. I mean, once you get the hang of it. But for quick defense, 380s or 9 mils. But I would prefer my spouse or anybody like that I'm dealing with to have a 380. Because you.
Okay,
So
ladies.
Glenn said, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, ladies, go and get a 380.
But it's probably on back order right now.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it is.
Well, let me give you guys a joke. Actually, Andrea has a 380. That's what
I did not know that.
She has
I
a,
did not
she
know
has
that.
A, she has
I
a
didn't know
really
that.
cool Smith & Wesson. But give them the joke about when you bought your gun and you went to get some bullets. What did they say to you?
Or they run out of bullets.
Oh, 380s out of stock everywhere.
Yeah, they didn't. They
Right.
have the practice bullets, but they didn't have the actual. They ran out.
I understand.
So Glenn says certain counties prohibit sawed-off shotguns and silencers.
Most
I
counties
was gonna say
prohibit sawed-off.
certain, yeah.
Most, if not all, counties and states outlawed sawed-off shotguns. And suppressors, you have to get what's known as a tax stamp. You have to pay for the suppressor, then pay the government an additional $250, and then
what's-
wait a whole year.
And what's a suppressor for those?
A suppressor is something that makes your weapon quiet.
Quiet.
Right,
Quiet,
the
yeah.
silencer slash suppressor. Okay. And Pristo,
Silencers from movies.
Oh.
Just suppressor.
Okay. Okay. And pistol grip shotguns, not sawed off.
Sawed-offs are pretty much illegal. Pistol grips, you can buy that in damn near any store.
So again, sawed off sounds like a song or a movie. Tell me what's so important about, like, what makes a difference?
A sawed-off shotgun creates a more explosive blast, which is damaging can be damaging to yourself and pretty much everyone. So sawed-offs are not really safe weapons. They're really not.
Okay. Okay.
Because a round can actually explode in the barrel.
Or someone?
No, you make those.
I was going to say, that
You
sounds
buy a
like
double barrel
moonshine.
And you saw it off.
Saw them off. That's
That's why it's called sawed-off.
Okay.
I mean, you can
Great.
buy them, but people that make them, they just don't make them right.
Okay. And then Steve says the best weapon is any one that you can accurately place rounds on target consistently.
That is correct.
Thank you, Steve. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That is correct. But how much time do we have?
We have 4 more minutes.
I'm going to go into something really quick. Home defense and concussive damage. Everybody thinks owning a gun and protecting your home is cool. That's great, but there's also something called concussive damage. If you're in your home and you shoot something what's known as a 5.56, which is a big round in your rifle, you're going to cause yourself concussive damage. Will actually make yourself dizzy when you're defending your home. So I would suggest getting a round that's not as loud. 223s, 300 blackouts, even LR22s. Something that's not going to cause you concussive damage when you're defending your home. Just that.
So for females, what kind of bullet would you recommend?
380.
380 bullets.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the type of round.
That's the type of round for good. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to give you a chance because I think if there, we did want to talk about, do we think that the new administration will tighten the laws?
Yes, I do.
Okay, tell us why.
Just because that's one of his promises. But he's not going to get everything he wants accomplished because some of the things he wants is very, very hardline and it's not going to work. But he is going to get some stuff accomplished. I do feel that.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
So we're talking about the president-elect.
The president-elect, correct.
Minimum, he'll get probably.
Yeah, he'll get some stuff. He'll get some
Because
stuff
he's got a
passed,
lot
but
of
his whole
pushback.
confiscation, his whole confiscation joint,
He's gonna get
that
a
ain't
lot
gonna
of
work.
pushback.
That ain't gonna work.
But before we finish, Spider, I just wanted you to talk real quick about the protest that you're involved with concerning the
Okay.
Exxon gas station.
So right now we're on day 32. Today was day 32. Everybody should be packing up right about now. Today was day 32 of an Exxon boycott that we're doing at a gas station on Flat Shoals and Gresham Road. We have the clerk on video saying that he does not give a F about the black community. And when my friend went up there to address him, the owner came out and said, "Get the F out, you food stamp cockroach." So on that note, my friend said, "You're going to pay for those words." And we're 32 days later. The reason we're not stopping at this point is because day after day, elderly women, the whole community just coming out. I mean, women with tears in their eyes. Like, I'm so thankful you guys are doing this. They've been nasty to us for years. I couldn't pull out change out of my pocket fast enough because I'm an older woman. And he told me to get the F out of his store, you black me. I was just like, oh.
Wow.
So we cannot stop. At this point, you're a parasite and you have to go.
Yes.
Like, you cannot stay in that neighborhood. You cannot. You have to go. So.
How long have they been there?
They've been there 36 years. So their whole 36-year legacy will be done in 60 days. Because right now, we just got news today. He's trying to private sell it. It's not really working because a gentleman that even came to buy it today saw us out there. He goes, "Yeah, my broker called me, said I should come buy this immediately, but I saw you guys out there and I wanted to ask what was happening." And my partner said, "Even if you buy it, you're still going to have problems because until this is black owned, no money's coming in here. Mm-hmm. I want you to understand that. So make a smart investment because you're going to lose money if you buy this spot."
Right.
So our goal is to actually acquire that location, change the food, change the culture. We're still going to have a gas station there, but it's going to be healthy food because that's the one thing that's missing in these neighborhoods. We don't have healthy foods. We have junk. We have crap. And it's being fed.
Grocery stores there. You can't even buy fruits and vegetables.
Right. And what we do every Friday is we hand out 400 to 500 boxes of fresh produce for free.
That's great.
Wow.
This coming Friday we're doing the same thing, and then the following Monday we're giving out turkeys.
Excellent.
So we're there until they're gone.
All I'm
Absolutely.
saying is I can't speak for everybody, but I'm behind you 100% on that.
Yeah.
I appreciate the support. I wholeheartedly appreciate the support, and the community's right behind us.
Right.
And it's been nothing but love, and the energy we're getting is just making us stronger. We're not stopping until they're gone, because before there was a conversation about us trying to mitigate the situation, but after the stories kept coming, it's just like, no, we can't stop. There's no way we can't stop at this point. None. We just have to do it.
That's awesome. So Spider, you have been an amazing guest. You've been awesome. So there's still lots of questions and comments coming in, and we just want to thank you. Thank you guys. Keep them coming.
Burgers and bullets.
Yep. Don't forget about burgers and bullets. Don't forget training is important. So we're encouraging you. So if you're going to have a gun, learn as much as you can. Be safe. You can again send out questions. Spider also has training, other instruction. You're going to do other events.
Yes.
So he'll make sure that he shares that on our Chime In feed. And we just thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.